story takes place in a world that changes forever when aliens invade, turning everything into a battleground. Strength becomes the only thing that matters, and if one is weak, they are worthless, a burden, and a complete joke. Like everyone else, the MC has to awaken his profession. But when his turns out to be a weak 1-star rank, the reaction from others is brutal. Laughter erupts, they mock him and call him a disgrace, but they have no idea what is coming. His real power awakens later, which is something far beyond what anyone expected. His abilities are not just strong, they are terrifying. Even the system labels them as dark forbidden spells, and just hearing the name is enough to send shivers down his spine. Others see them as a curse, but he sees an opportunity. He decides that from that moment on, he will rule over everyone else. At the Superpower Academy, 18-year-old Ning Feng is fully immersed in an intense battle on his mobile game. That is, until a sharp slap brings him back to reality. The culprit is Wang Yue, the Academy's untouchable goddess who is beautiful, rich, talented, and, at the moment, furious. And honestly, she has got a point. The awakening exam is literally about to start, and instead of preparing, our boy is busy gaming like his future depends on it. Not that he cares. He already knows he will awaken into some weak, bottom-tier profession, completely opposite to Yue, who awakened as a 5-star adventurer at just 16. He figures he will just latch onto her success and cruise through life stress-free. Unfortunately, Yue sees right through his plan. She pulls him closer and starts choking him. The onlookers gossip at the bizarre scene. After all, Yue is a once-in-a-generation genius, and our hero is, well, the school's resident disappointment. But their odd dynamic makes sense as they have been childhood friends for years. Now let's talk about their world, Blue Star, a place where reality and games have merged. And the moment you turn 16, you get a shot at awakening some cool ability to become an adventurer. And if you fail, well, it sucks to be you. The MC knows this better than anyone because this is his 3rd time taking the exam. While everyone else excitedly discusses their dream professions, he just stands there, waiting for this whole mess to be over. When his turn finally comes, whispers spread through the crowd. The instructor, Qi Wei, gives him an encouraging nod, and he steps forward and places his hand on the awakening crystal. A few tense seconds pass, and a blue light glows, which indicates that he has awakened into the magic profession. But the result is a 1-star adventurer with some lame skill. Teacher Qi feels bad for him, but the other students waste no time in mocking him. Despite all of that, our boy is not feeling down, but rather he is confused. Because the moment he awakened, a system notification appeared and granted him 2 abilities. First, which allows him to use dark power without consequences, and second, which lets him cast a forbidden spell once a week. And his lame technique also upgrades to something else, which sounds absolutely terrifying. He has no idea why the system is treating him like the final boss of a horror game, so he just hopes it does not get him killed in the practical test. The test itself is straightforward, in which candidates enter an arena and fight monsters to get used to their skills. Attacking each other is banned, and drones monitor everything. While the others charge in, ready to prove themselves, our hero hides in the bushes. Look, he could try fighting, but his only skill is some shady, forbidden magic, and something tells him that if anyone finds out, things won't end well for him. Meanwhile, in the monitoring room, Captain Zhou spots him doing absolutely nothing and questions why this guy is even there. Qiwi tries to defend him and explains his late awakening, poor health, and unfortunate luck. Zhou, however, is not buying it. To him, a 1-star adventurer is useless, and he wants the MC kicked out. But before he can make it official, something weird happens. Our boy's drone goes offline, and at the same time, the system detects a massive power surge in the arena. Chu instantly assumes some high-level monster has shown up and orders an investigation. Back in the forest, things take a turn. A boy gets cornered by a goblin horde, and their chief orders a massacre. He even destroys the remaining drones for good measure. Our hero, who is still hiding, realizes that with the drones gone, he finally has a chance to test his forbidden spell. And, well, the results are dramatic. The moment he activates the spell, everything in the monitoring room goes dark. Alarms start blaring, and the higher-ups collectively panic. Zhou assumes a high-level dark entity has appeared, and orders reinforcements and an emergency evacuation. Our hero, on the other hand, watches as his spell unfolds. The dark energy surges and forms a terrifying force that crushes everything in its path. The goblins are annihilated, and their chief is staring at the MC like he just witnessed the apocalypse right before him and ends up meeting the same fate. After that, the system rewards the MC experience points. Our hero stares at his status window and is dumbfounded. His level just shot up to 10, which is something that had never happened in previous combat tests. He figures most of the experience came from that elite monster, but the real question is, what was an elite monster even doing in the secret realm in the first place? Before he can dwell on it, his eyes land on the loot, and oh boy, it does not disappoint. The Pioneer emblem, which permanently boosts agility, and some Hook Claw both are glowing in the highly coveted orange grade, which means they are extremely rare and expensive. Selling the claw could make him rich, and he is already daydreaming about rolling in money. But just as he is about to bask in his future wealth, an announcement calls the candidates back. And then, a sinister dark force suddenly surrounds him, and traps pop up all around. He wastes no time and activates a teleportation scroll to escape before anyone can question what in the world just happened. When they regroup, Captain Zhou immediately orders everyone back to the city. And honestly, it is fair enough. Even if they fought together, they would not stand a chance against whatever is lurking in that realm. As they wait for reinforcements, something even weirder happens as the dark energy vanishes without a trace. What is worse is the fact that the monsters cannot leave the secret arena. Qi Wei realizes that this is way above their pay grade and decides to report it immediately. Our boy tries to ask something, but she hurries him to leave. On the way, the MC finally gets some answers from Wang Yue. Turns out, the academy closed because of the whole mysterious dark power situation. Our hero tries to process whether that unknown force came from the elite monster or if something else was at play. Yu mistakes his deep-in-thought expression for actual emotional trauma and reassures him that since his defensive spells are not great for solo combat, he will be teaming up with her group starting tomorrow. Our boy appreciates the concern but politely declines. Not because he does not want to. Obviously, teaming up sounds great. But the real issue is that he cannot exactly show off his dark forbidden magic, the only trick up his sleeve. But Yue, being Yue, does not give him a choice. She just gives him the time and location and walks off like the conversation was already over. He calls after her, but she is gone. Now he is stuck trying to come up with an excuse to escape training. The problem is, knowing Yue, dodging this is going to be harder than fighting that elite monster. He thinks of a plan, though whether it will work or backfire is another question entirely. The MC arrives at the trading center with a simple plan to buy some equipment with a skill, show it off in front of Yue, and hope the system does not turn it into some overpowered world-ending spell. As he browses the surroundings, a woman approaches and suggests he check out high-level equipment perfect for leveling up. But our boy is not here for a long-term investment. He just needs a quick fix. The moment she realizes he is not about to throw around crystal coins like a rich young master, she practically tosses him aside and calls for a newcomer to take care of him. Then comes Yang Xin, the new guide. She takes our hero to the equipment section, where he checks out a few items, some of which feel like they would consume him whole. After some searching, he finally settles on a ring. With that sorted, Xin leads him to Master Wang, the go-to guy for selling stuff. The MC hands over the claw for evaluation, and Wang gives it a thorough once-over, and then calls a potential buyer. Not long after, Wang informs him that the deal is done, and after transaction fees, our hero will walk away with about 50,000 crystal coins. They briefly go over paperwork, and our hero decides that he might grab some more stuff while he is here. Meanwhile, the woman who snubbed him earlier is busy gossiping with her colleagues. She passionately discusses her type, which is wealthy, powerful, and of course, easy on the eyes. But then she spots the MC chatting with Wang and gets hit with the shocking realization that this nobody just made more money in one trade than her commission of months. The regret on her face is real and honestly well-deserved. The next morning, our hero practices his new skills. He had tested them the previous night, and thankfully, the system did not turn them into some dark catastrophe. That means he can actually use them without worrying about triggering an apocalypse. Feeling good, he greets Yue, who introduces him to her guild members, a mage, a sound warrior, a raging berserker, and a priest. It does not take a genius to pick up on the fact that the mage, Zhao Cheng, and the sound warrior don't like him. Cheng in particular seems focused on Yue, who is close to her second transformation. He offers her a high-level potion, all while boasting about how expensive and rare it is. The MC is momentarily impressed, as it takes 30 whole levels to complete a class advancement, so Yue is indeed exceptional. But then Yue declines the gift, and Cheng's world crumbles a little. He insists and pushes the gift, but Yue has more important things to do. She turns to our boy, and Cheng cannot believe it, that a nobody, our hero, is wasting Yue's time. He blurts out an insult, and Yue warns him to watch his words, but he just keeps going. The MC, who is just standing there, wonders if it would be socially acceptable to drop a forbidden spell on Cheng and call it a day. Cheng's ego is inflating by the second, and the priest girl, who probably senses a disaster incoming, tries to talk him down. But he shuts her up real quick and throws another insult at our hero. This time our boy is not in the mood to let it slide. He calls Cheng out for bragging about some random potion like it is some legendary artifact. The sound warrior backs Cheng up and challenges the MC to prove himself. Instead of arguing, our hero just takes out the pioneer emblem and hands it to Yue like it is no big deal. The whole group collectively gets shocked. Our boy wants Yue to take it and makes up that he found it at home and always planned to give it to her. Yue uses it and her stats shoot up. At this point, Cheng's brain cells are fighting for survival. He refuses to believe it, or maybe he just does not want to. Instead, he does what all losers do and accuses our hero of stealing it. Unfortunately for him, reality does not care about his feelings. With no other option, he chokes down his pride and drops to his knees in apology. The MC is now satisfied and leaves with Yue. On their way, Yue apologizes, and our boy brushes it off but suggests she focus on her second transformation and getting into the best university instead of hanging around him. Not that he can actually tell her the real reason that he cannot level up properly with her tagging along. She then hands him a skill book, and he gladly accepts it. Later, in the treacherous graveyard of the secret realm, Yue is busy killing the zombie-looking creatures with her arrows. Our hero is also with her and hypes her up on the outside, at least. Inside, he is questioning all his life choices. The experience points there are a joke, but he just cannot go ahead and tell Yue that he is already at level 10. Just then, Yue's cell phone beeps. Her guild members are calling as a boss monster is about to show up. The priest girl talks with Yue over the call, while Chung chatters away behind her. Yue glances at the MC as if seeking reassurance, and he gives her the approval to leave. She tells him to wait for her in the safe zone before leaving. Now alone, our hero finally has a chance to do what he does best, charge straight into danger. He has recently learnt 2 new skills, but thanks to his pathetic skill slot limit, he can only equip 3 at a time. And the fancy skill book Yue gave him is completely useless until he hits level 15. Over on the other side of the graveyard, a man reports that the big boss has appeared in the high tower, which is buried deep within the secret realm. Getting there won't be easy, considering the monsters lurking around, so he warns everyone to be extra cautious. Just as he finishes, an explosion rocks the area. Looking ahead, they spot another adventurer team already charging forward. Of course, it just has to be Yue's group. While deep inside the graveyard, the MC is already at the tower thanks to the forbidden spells. Standing before him is the big boss, looking all menacing. The boss throws a magical attack at our boy, causing a massive explosion, but our hero avoids it easily. In response, he activates a meteor shower and summons a fiery rainstorm from the sky. Another explosion follows, and as the dust settles, our boy grins. The system bombards him with notifications. Something about a ridiculous kill count, a mountain of experience points, and the big prize. The big boss is down. He is now level 30 as well. That means he is ready for his first transformation. He takes his loot, including some pendants, gemstones, and most importantly, the emblem. The moment he absorbs it, the system hits him with another update, that during his profession change, he can either unlock the hidden necromancer class or attempt the prerequisite task for the secret archmage profession. He knows very well that hidden professions are beyond rare, and they cannot just pick up like cheap loot. So he starts to suspect that these emblems might be the key. After a whole 2 seconds of deep thinking, he decides archmage it is. Meanwhile, as the Yue's guild continues to fight, a sudden magical fluctuation sends everyone into high alert. Yu immediately orders a retreat. Cheng, on the other hand, has a moment of indecision. Yu reminds him that their teammates' lives actually matter. Cheng backs off and grumbles about his terrible luck. Yui tries to reach out to our hero, only to find a message from him saying he had to leave due to urgent matters. After getting his business done at the graveyard, the MC arrives at the profession-changing hall. He looks around for someone who can help. A woman approaches, registers his details, and guides him to the mage profession change room. As she leaves, she meets with Captain Joe, who updates her about the graveyard incident. Apparently, something or someone wreaked havoc in the area, and the estimated threat level is just around Demon King class or higher. That is why he is there to request Lone Shadow's intervention. Our boy's first task as an archmage is to retrieve the divine emblem from the Radiant Temple. Compared to the Necromancer's mission, which is breaking into the Sum Tomb to steal the crown, this is basically a warm-up round. He has 3 days to complete it, and since it is just a prerequisite, he accepts without much thought and turns to leave the profession-changing hall. On his way out, a woman bids him farewell. Oddly enough, she is not the same one who greeted him earlier. He does not dwell on it, though. Over at the graveyard, the woman from earlier, Su Lan, is there along with Captain Joe. But she is not just any investigator. She is the captain of Lone Shadow, a secretive organization that has members who wield the power of darkness and carry out mysterious, highly classified missions. Right now, she is analyzing the scene of a fresh disaster and senses a dark energy, but finds no actual clues, and concludes that whoever caused the destruction has vanished without a trace. Captain Joe suspects this incident is connected to the recent strange disturbances across different regions. Lan is not so sure about that, but suggests bringing in more support and asking the higher-ups for guidance. Another man there shares his theory that maybe the culprit is a monster. She immediately catches the underlying implication that he is subtly hinting that Lone Shadow's people are not so different from monsters themselves. The man realizes his mistake and quickly apologizes. But the real threat, Lan explains, is not something as simple as an ordinary monster. It is beyond even Demon King level beings, something far more powerful than a regular human can handle. It is lurking in the shadows, and they need to find it before it decides to make a grand reappearance. At the same time, our hero is at his apartment, reviewing his newly unlocked skills. Now that he has reached level 30, he has 4 extra skill slots, which means it is time to actually use those books Yue gave him, instead of letting them collect dust. The first skill automatically fuses with the forbidden spell and transforms into some shield spell. It is a passive ability that activates when he takes damage and absorbs attacks up to a certain limit. Next, he checks the second one, which merges with forbidden spells as well, and boosts his earth-based spells by some percent, which is nice and all, but still not enough for him. So, he decides to hit up the trading center for some additional skill books. The next day, the MC arrives at the trading center, only to be immediately ambushed by the very woman who previously refused to assist him. This time, however, she suddenly has all the enthusiasm in the world to help. Our boy asks for Yang Xin, but the woman, very conveniently, claims that Xin is busy assisting another client. Instead, she offers to personally guide him. Our hero declines and decides to browse on his own. Predictably, this does not go over well. The woman's mood sours instantly. She makes another attempt, but thankfully, Xin arrives. It turns out that Xin was not busy with another client. She has just been eating. After hearing that the MC has arrived, she rushed over, and he, feeling slightly guilty, offers to treat her to a meal later. The clingy woman, watching the whole thing unfold, looks about ready to explode from sheer frustration. Our boy then sells 2 skill books to Wang and asks for more mage skill books. Wang, meanwhile, is getting increasingly suspicious. The items our hero has brought earlier and now are not ordinary, and now he is very curious about where he is getting them from. Instead of just ignoring it, he decides to investigate the MC's background. Later that evening, our boy and Xin have dinner together. When they finish, he reaches for the bill only to find that Xin has already paid. He asks why, but she just smiles and keeps it a secret. He then offers to walk her home, but she politely declines, as she has somewhere else to be. Her actual destination is the hospital, where her father is admitted. Thanks to the commission she earned through assisting our hero, she has just enough to cover his medical expenses for a month. But unfortunately, life has other plans. Midway through her journey, something goes horribly wrong. Out of nowhere, monsters appear inside the safe zone. She steps out of the taxi and stares at them in shock. Xin is a 1-star mage, and she does her best to fight off the monsters, but let's be real, her best is not nearly enough. She barely manages to stand her ground before one of the creatures decides to make her its next meal. Just as it is about to strike, a blade slices through the air and cuts it down effortlessly. It's Captain Joe, and he takes one glance at the chaos around him and immediately knows things have gone much worse. The secret realm is merging with reality, and these monsters are way out of a 1-star's league. His mind flashes back to the earlier conversation about the ridiculously overpowered monster hiding in the city, causing destruction. Before he can think too much about that, an attack comes flying his way. He dodges just in time and turns to see a man standing before him, who is radiating enough arrogance to be mistaken for a self-proclaimed villain. Zhu assumes he is a mutant, but the guy takes it as an offense. He insists that he is the chosen one of the darkness. Zhu does not know what kind of fantasy novel this guy crawled out of, but there is no time to debate. He attacks, but the man retaliates with such force that Zhou is sent flying. The self-proclaimed Dark Lord then announces that this city belongs to him now and charges again. Zhu barely gets a chance to react before getting thrown. While he is struggling to get up, the guy starts boasting about his greatness. But before his ego inflates any further, a creepy voice cuts through from the pendant on his chest. It immediately puts him in his place and reminds him that his power is not his, but something granted to him. If he wants to prove himself, he has to sacrifice every single person in the city, and the guy agrees to the command right away. Meanwhile, the MC casually strolls out of a public restroom, only to be greeted by a full-blown monster apocalypse. Dead bodies, destruction, and chaos, it's just a mess. A monster spots him and decides he would make a great snack. It pounces, only to be skewered mid-air by our boy's earth magic. He then soon finds Captain Joe, who is beaten to death and being held by the dark-powered man. The guy wastes no time and lunges at our hero and swings his oversized claw. The MC, however, blocks it easily. That is when the creepy voice takes notice of him. It realizes that our boy's power is actually threatening, unlike its so-called chosen one. Our hero, on the other hand, debates whether to use a forbidden spell. After a brief moment, he decides to go for it and shatters the guy's claw and breaks free effortlessly. Now, completely panicked, the man calls out to his master for help. The entity has apparently decided he is no longer worth the effort. It pulls back all the remaining monsters and abandons him on the spot. And now, it's just him and the MC with no borrowed power for the poor guy to hide behind. The so-called mutants are a special breed, people who, during their awakening, luck out and gain a hidden profession linked to darkness. It is a fancy way of saying they are stronger than regular folks at the same level. But of course, without the protection of darkness, they would die. Our boy, after taking down one of these unfortunate souls, decides not to waste any time mourning and quickly loots the guy, and then heads home. Meanwhile, a young girl reports Sulan that the monsters have retreated, and the secret realm's gate has magically disappeared. Lan gets in deep thought. The past few days have been one bizarre incident after another, with events appearing out of nowhere and vanishing just as fast. She has no idea what they are up to. The girl continues that most areas are under control, but the south side has taken a serious hit. Casualties are high, and their team's status there is mysteriously absent. Lan decides she would rather see the mess for herself and heads south, which is Captain Zhou's territory. Down in the south, the so-called Chosen One has been turned into a statue, with his stomach looking like someone has used it for target practice. A man named Duan arrives and notices that everything valuable has been looted. Just then, Lan appears, and Duan introduces himself as a member of some organization which is made entirely of fighters who operate in the shadows. Lan is well aware of their reputation. Duan wastes no time explaining that the corpse in front of them had once been one of their own until he betrayed them. He is the one who helped the secret realm break into reality, which led to a monster ambush wiping out their entire camp. Well, almost. A few lucky ones have managed to crawl away. As for who has put an end to the traitor, it is still a mystery. Lan cannot shake the feeling that something is off. Captain Zhou has the strength of a third transformation, yet his entire army has been turned into a tragic war story. That can only mean one thing. There is someone, or something, powerful enough to not only eliminate the enemy, but also block the secret realm's invasion. Before she can dwell on it, Duan takes his leave, as he has something important to find. Back at the MC's apartment, he is in a fantastic mood as he goes through his freshly acquired loot, which includes a high-quality garment, orange-grade armor, and a mysterious pendant with unknown properties. He just hopes it is not linked to an ancient deity, or worse, something even more annoying. Little does he know, inside the pendant, a sinister figure is watching him. The same creepy entity from before peers into a crystal ball, which is somehow linked to the pendant, and allows him to spy on our hero. But the moment our boy mentions the possibility of an ancient deity being involved, the entity absolutely loses it. In an immediate panic mode, he gives orders to cut off all communication and hide their location like their lives depend on it, which, knowing ancient deities, they probably do. Over at the hospital, Captain Zhou is wrapped in bandages from head to toe and looks like a mummy with a broken leg. He recounts what happened and how their supposed doom has been interrupted by a young fighter who suddenly showed up, scaring the enemy into retreating like cockroaches when the lights come on. For this mysterious figure, they have checked the scene and found nothing special, just traces of basic magic. Zhou hopes this unknown person will join their side. Another man from earlier suggests that the mysterious person might be a mutant. Zhou, however, shuts that idea down as just overthinking. Our boy arrives at the Radiant Temple and is completely unaware that Duan is lurking in the shadows, watching his every move like some overly curious stalker. A few days earlier, Duan visited Wang at the trading center, looking to buy a 4th transformation fighter set. While they talk, the very woman who our hero has previously rejected now eyes Duan up like he is her backup retirement plan. Wang mentions to Duan that one of their regular customers has bought the same set, which is obviously none other than the MC. Now curious, Duan wants to meet him, but he cannot, as our boy won't be coming that day. As Wang describes the outfit, a simple 2-piece top and pants, Duan's instincts scream legacy item alert. He is convinced that this set has ties to his master, and he decides to pay Wang for our hero's whereabouts. Wang, however, was not born yesterday. He finds it suspicious that Duan magically appeared just after the MC talked about selling the outfit. Is this a setup? A weird coincidence? Either way, Wang is not about to spill everything right away. Instead, he stalls some time with an excuse to call our boy first. After Duan leaves, Wang cannot shake his unease. When the nosy woman asks what is wrong, he shares what he has learnt about our hero. Turns out the MC's parents were just your average 2-star professionals who have disappeared in an accident, leaving him alone. Our boy later attended a school and only awakened a 1-star profession at 18. The real issue is that someone with that kind of background should not be bringing in the kind of high-quality items he has been selling. Yui's guild does not help him much either, so unless he has a fairy godmother handing him treasures, there are only 2 possibilities. Either he has stolen them or has somehow gotten tangled up with someone way out of his league. Back at the temple, Duan continues his little surveillance mission. It is baffling to him how our hero, who barely looks like he has grown out of his school uniform, managed to repel an invasion into the secret realm, especially when even his master, a powerhouse, has lost to the realm's boss. According to reports he has heard, if the MC is not absurdly strong himself, then someone standing behind him definitely is. Either way, Duan is not about to take any risks. Our boy, on the other hand, watches other fighters struggle against the monsters and begins changing his gear. Duan braces himself for some dramatic transformation, maybe glowing armor or an aura of destruction. Instead, our hero ends up looking like, well, a regular student. Now Duan has the suspicion that the MC might try to shake him off, so he decides to play it smart. Since tailing him closely is not an option, he uses a skill to mark our boy's location just in case. As our hero enters the temple, someone welcomes him with an attack, but a barrier flares up in front of him and effortlessly blocks the attack. Duan is stunned, and as if that is not bizarre enough, all the surrounding monsters take one look at the MC and run for their lives. Then, our boy comes across a massive man who is completely frozen in place and sweating buckets. A quick check of his task guide tells him this guy is not even important, so he simply walks past him. Moving deeper inside, he reaches a hidden chamber where a six-winged angel stands. The moment the angel sees him, it does the most unexpected thing and runs. Our hero gets confused. He has expected a grand battle, but instead, the angel, the supposed temple boss, is trying to flee. Unfortunately for the angel, there is nowhere to go. The MC decides to get this over with. He summons a thunderstorm over the tower. A moment later, lightning crashes down and engulfs the angel. The temple collapses, and Duan stands there in shock. Our hero is not exactly celebrating either, as despite everything, his rank refuses to budge because he has not gone through the first transformation yet, and all those experience points are completely useless. The only real win is the divine emblem he got after defeating the boss, which means the task is officially complete. With nothing else to gain there, he decides to leave. That is the plan at least, until Duan comes charging at him like a madman. Our hero flinches, as the last thing he needs right now is someone finding out about his dark power. But before he can even process the situation, Duan looks at him with this weird mix of admiration and worry. Assuming the MC is the master of this whole ordeal, Duan offers to explain himself. But before they can even start, a siren blares. Our boy pulls out a teleportation scroll, as it's best to get out of there first and talk later. Once they land in a quieter area, Duan finally lets it all out. His master sacrificed his life to seal an invading realm, only for a traitor to slip away. And that traitor has been using humans as sacrifices for years to break the seal. Duan has been hunting him but has come up empty-handed. While Duan continues his chatter, our hero is lost in his own thoughts, but not over the whole tragic betrayal thing. No, he is too busy worrying about his low level. If he does not rank up soon, his concealed dark powers could be exposed, and that is a whole different headache. The MC's serious expression looks intimidating to Duan, and he assumes he is about to be executed. To smooth things over, Duan thanks him and even offers his help anytime. Our boy sees some potential in him, but first things first, he makes it very clear that Duan needs to keep his mouth shut about the day's events. Duan surprisingly has no issue with that. In his mind, our hero's dark magic is not the problem. It has saved the city after all. Plus, he has nowhere else to go, so he decides to follow the MC. As they start moving, our boy's phone buzzes. Chi Wei is calling to let him know she needs to talk, and then hangs up. She is with Sulan, and updates her on our hero's return. Lan has been digging into things and discovered that our boy has reached his first transformation level. She tries to vouch for our hero's good character, but Lan is not about to take her word for it as she needs answers, not character references. Earlier during a meeting, Lan brings up the destruction in the Qin Yu city and suggests that it might be the work of mutants. An older man there questions why she of all people is raising the issue, considering she is a mutant herself. They all know that dark powers come with a cost. Life depletion, loss of sanity, or, if they are really unlucky, turning into some kind of unspeakable horror. According to him, a mutant with power equivalent to a Demon King-level threat just does not exist. Another man makes fun of her concern as fiction, but she is not there to entertain them, just to point out possibilities, and whether they listen or not is their problem. The man mocks her further, and even offers to cut off his own head if she turns out to be right. The old man moves on to the city's investigation, which is already in progress, but the higher-ups have rejected the Lone Shadow's request for extra support. Lan takes it as a lack of trust, but the man insists she just needs to be patient. Just then, a young girl bursts into the room with a report that there was an attack on the Radiant Temple, but thankfully, there are no deaths. Back to their conversation, Chi pieces it together that the MC's leveling spot was registered at the Radiant Temple. Now, there is Longbow City, which is locked down under a supposedly impenetrable barrier, and the people inside are losing their minds trying to figure out what is going on. Among them, Duan and the MC stand in the restless crowd and are equally confused. The knights do their best to reassure everyone, making grand claims about safety, though it's not exactly sound convincing. Our boy finally connects the dots. The little commotion he caused earlier turned out to be a bit louder than he thought, loud enough to trigger the city's highest-level security alert. Now all he can do is wait for things to settle and then return home like nothing happened. But unfortunately, the universe has other plans. Outside the barrier, monsters are gathered, eyeing the humans, and the so-called powerful barrier advertised as the ultimate protection shatters. The monsters pour in, and in an instant, the city is in chaos. People scream, shove, and run for their lives. Duan updates the MC about the other city that got hit just like this last night and turns to our boy for suggestions. Our hero, on the other hand, figures Duan has things covered and is just being polite. The miscommunication piles up, and before anyone can correct it, Duan decides this is a test, and the MC is waiting to see what he is capable of. So without further discussion, he steps up. Our boy, meanwhile, is not exactly worried. Too many people around, too much attention. Letting Duan handle it seems like the best move. The guards attempt to fight back, but they don't even get close before they are torn apart. The monster leader, watching this pitiful display, is beyond disappointed. If this is humanity's best, he might as well take his frustrations out on them. Just as its attack is about to land, Duan blocks it. Not because he is deeply concerned for the city, no, he is far too busy fantasizing about proving himself to the MC. Our boy, on the other hand, is trying not to cringe at how seriously Duan keeps calling him master. The monster leader finally finds someone worth his time, but that enthusiasm dies a quick death. Duan moves, and the leader gets sliced. The crowd stares, and no one had expected this level of power. And honestly, Duan is just so strong. He is over level 130, a secret warrior with a high-star hidden profession. Even our boy has to admit he is something. Though whether he is admiring the strength or questioning how this lunatic ended up under his wing is another matter entirely, the Dark Lord decides it's the perfect time for retreat as the monster leader is out of the picture. Duan turns to our hero and waits for further instructions, but the MC is already satisfied with his efforts. Duan then hands over the orange-colored loot dropped by the monster leader. Our boy keeps the skill book for Yue and decides to sell the shield for some much-needed cash. Just as they are wrapping things up, a priest shows up, along with a knight who looks injured. They express their gratitude, as they should, before another figure approaches Kai Dongming, the mayor of Longbow City. One glance at our hero and Duan, and Dongming immediately realizes they are not from there. The MC makes up a story about how they are on business, and just happen to get trapped in this whole mess. Unfortunately, Dongming completely misreads the situation and assumes our boy is blaming them for the barrier. The man actually bows and apologizes, which is ironic, considering our hero knows full well this disaster is entirely his doing. He graciously reassures Dongming that it's not their fault. To make up for the inconvenience, Dongming offers a flight scroll, an item so valuable that even the MC has to hold back from looking too impressed. He then invites them to stay in the city for a few more days, citing the ongoing trouble and a shortage of defense forces. But our boy declines as he has to handle the profession change mission, which is only open for a few days, and he is not about to miss his first transformation. Dongming then presents him with a black card as a token of appreciation. Our hero recognizes it as something from a ridiculously powerful organization and accepts it with gratitude. With that, everyone parts ways on good terms, and the MC and Duan make their exit. Back in Xinyu City, Yue's guild members gather outside the profession-changing hall, waiting for Yue and Cheng to return. Just as they step out, our boy and Duan conveniently soar above them in the sky. Yu senses our hero's presence, while Cheng laughs it off. According to him, the MC is too broke to afford something as luxurious as a flight scroll. But before he can continue his comedy act, Yue silences him with a sharp glare. Cheng just does not get it. What does our hero have that he does not? A flight scroll? A better fashion sense? A secret treasure hoard? The mystery remains. The priest girl wisely changes the subject to their second transformation. Cheng reveals his A rank. He is clearly not thrilled, but the Sound Warrior and Raging Berserker cheer him up and do their best to keep his ego intact. Then all eyes turn to Yue. Unlike Cheng, she says nothing. Her silence raises concern, and the priest girl gently presses for an answer. Cheng, with his tiny brain, assumes the worst, that Yue must have gotten a low rank and is too embarrassed to admit it. He assures her that she can always rely on him. Yue, who is finally fed up with his assumptions, drops the bomb that he should not be worried about her level, but he should be worried about his own. Because while he is sitting at an A, she has achieved an S. The moment she says it, the entire group freezes. Cheng, who has been basking in his imaginary superiority, suddenly is at a loss for words. And the best part is that Yue has not mentioned it earlier because her mission has unlocked a hidden profession, one so rare that even she has never heard of it before. Cheng is having a hard time wrapping his head around this. A profession is always determined at awakening, yet somehow Yue has just unlocked a hidden one mid-change. It all started earlier when Yue was inside the profession changing room. She has received a pioneer emblem from our boy, which is supposedly a simple gift, but when she uses it, her profession jumps from Swift Archer to Shadow of the Vanguard. At first, she is confused. Then she stays confused. Eventually, she reaches a groundbreaking conclusion that our hero must have known this would happen when he gave her the emblem. Without overthinking or, well, thinking at all, she accepts the change. Now she is explaining all this to the others. Cheng refuses to believe it. Yue, however, does not have the patience for his paranoia. The rest of the group ignores him, while Cheng quietly boils in the background. Determined to prove himself right, he secretly decides to track down the emblem. Meanwhile, inside the profession changing room, the MC is having a much smoother experience. He offers up his newly acquired divine emblem, and just like that, his stats skyrocket. New skills unlock, and now he can wield forbidden spells with pinpoint precision. Outside, Duan is waiting, standing guard. Sulan happens to pass by and spots him. She already knows Duan is absurdly strong, but she is even more intrigued by what she has heard from the staff that Duan is not just strong, he is practically our boy's shadow, following him around and showing him an unusual level of respect. She senses something interesting and updates Qi Wei through her earpiece. Qi, however, is completely unbothered and assures Lan that our hero is on their side. She decides she would rather get answers straight from the source and goes directly to the MC. Duan steps aside. Chi cuts straight to the point and knows our boy has already completed his first transformation. Our hero is caught off guard, takes a moment, and then decides to just admit it. Ki has always looked out for him, so there is no harm in accepting it. She then shifts the conversation to a much bigger problem, the power of darkness. A lot of people are slowly mutating because of it, and she wants to make sure our boy is not one of them. The MC, for his part, assures her that he has zero interest in joining the mutant club. Those guys are under constant surveillance by the authorities, and he would rather not have that level of attention. She, however, is not fully convinced. She shows him a crystal and explains that it's used to detect traces of darkness. All he has to do is inject his power into it. He hesitates, and she notices but waits. In the end, our hero goes through with it. The moment his power enters the crystal, it explodes. Both he and she stare at the shattered remains. According to Lan, this magic crystal is supposed to measure corruption. A slight tremor means mild contamination. A violent shake means a serious problem. But an explosion? Lan conveniently forgot to mention what that meant. The MC assures Chi to trust him as they have known each other for so long. His words hit a soft spot, and for a moment, she finds herself wavering, reminded of his tragic past. But duty calls. She has to report what happened, no matter how guilty she feels about it. Our boy understands, of course, but that does not mean he is not worried. If things go south, he is already considering packing his bags and leaving Chinyu City. Before parting ways, Chi hands him a skill book, a gift for his awakening. Our hero, in return, gives her the Sacred Wing, a token of appreciation for always having his back. With that, he walks off, leaving her no choice but to accept it. Later, Chi arrives at the adventurer's office to update Lan. She worries the authorities might see the MC as a threat, but Lan figures that since he has already exceeded their understanding, poking him is probably a terrible idea. Instead, she decides it's best to negotiate rather than provoke him. She orders a halt to any investigations and seals all information related to our boy. Ki shares the same thoughts. Lan then decides to shift the focus to Duan. Our hero, on the other hand, returns to his apartment with Duan, looking less than thrilled. Duan immediately picks up on it. The MC shares that Chi messaged him that the authorities have officially dropped their investigation, but he is worried about future level-ups. Every time he destroys a secret realm, it causes a stir, and it's only a matter of time before the higher-ups start connecting the dots. Duan, who is now fully convinced that our hero operates on a completely different wavelength than the rest of humanity, offers a solution to train in unregistered areas. Some are off the grid simply because the authorities don't have the resources to manage them, while others are conveniently occupied by evil forces. Duan already knows 2 such locations and can find more if needed. Our boy leaves it to him, and he plans to hit the trading center the next day to sell off his loot, take a breather, and pretend to be a normal person for a while. After that, Duan heads to a hotel for the night, planning to find a rental the next day. But before he can enjoy his well-earned rest, the city's mayor, Zhang Ji, shows up. The man asks about Duan's plan to stay in the city. When Duan confirms, Zhang Ji offers him a high-privileged city card, along with an offer for additional assistance. As Duan examines the card, Zhang Ji is internally panicking as Duan has rejected countless cities trying to recruit him. What Zhang Ji does not know is that Duan's decision has nothing to do with the city itself. It's all for the MC. Meanwhile, Zhang Ji is blissfully unaware of our hero's existence and is just patting himself on the back for securing such a valuable asset for the city's security. Our boy has been glued to his game for so long, he does not even realize how much time has flown by. It's only when he finally takes a breather that he notices the class group chat still blowing up. Out of curiosity, he opens it and finds that everyone's stressing about power levels, evolving their abilities, and, of course, the dreaded college entrance exam that expects you to have gone through at least one transformation by now. The irony is that he used to be the guy who did not care about any of that nonsense. Yet somehow, in just a few short days, he has raced ahead of the entire group without even trying. Then out of nowhere, some UA fanboy decides it's the perfect time to mock him for wasting time playing games. Chiwei drops him a message to just ignore that loudmouth. And just when things start to cool down, someone drops the news of a secret realm invasion. That is when he starts to regret that he really should have taken care of that creepy dark entity when he had the chance. Funny enough, somewhere out there in the shadows, that very entity sneezes. The next morning at the trading center, the woman scolds Shin for dragging herself to work despite her injuries. And because being annoying is her full-time job, she decides to throw some insults at our hero too. Shin, of course, defends him, but the woman is feeling extra full of herself today and starts digging up the MC's past just to make fun of him. Before the scene can escalate further, the ground suddenly spikes up right next to her, and she barely dodges in time. Guess who just walked in? Our boy, who clearly heard everything and decided that silence was not an option. The woman now realizes that karma works fast and switches to victim mode. She yells for the guards like her life depends on it. Shin urges our hero to leave before things get worse, but the MC just tells her not to worry. Right on time, Wang shows up with the guards, acting all high and mighty. Our boy does not waste time and directly calls him out for sneaking around, investigating him like some low-budget detective, and even labeling him a thief. Wong, of course, pretends he is too important to answer and orders the guards to arrest him. Too bad for him, our hero pulls out the supreme black card. The second the guards see it, they practically skid to a stop, and Wong and the woman are absolutely stunned. But Wong still desperately clings to his pride and demands to know how the MC got his hands on such a card. Our boy just wants him to investigate by himself, since Wong is apparently such a master at it. Wong gets frustrated and signals the woman to keep an eye on the MC while he dials someone. Outside, people are confused by the guards blocking the way. Meanwhile, Dongming, who already got the news from headquarters, contacts Wong for details. Wong now realizes that he is neck-deep in trouble and plays it off as a misunderstanding. Unfortunately for him, Dongming is not having it. Furious, he shouts at Wong for offending the MC, because obviously he is someone he spent a ridiculous amount of effort trying to establish good relations with. Not wanting to get crushed under the weight of his own stupidity, Wong decides to switch tactics. He stands there, stunned, probably rethinking all his life choices. Then, in one last desperate attempt to salvage the situation, he decides to call Duan and hopes to pull him into the mess to save himself. Our hero and Shin are waiting at the trading center when Dongming and Duan storm in. Their sharp glares make the woman flinch as if she has just realized she messed with the wrong people. She turns to Wang, who looks like he just ran a marathon in heavy armor. Dongming, after confirming that our boy is not interested in their apologies, orders Wang and the woman to get lost. Wang decides to take out his frustration on the woman and punches her. Not that Dongming has time for their drama, he simply signals the guards to throw the trash out. With that nonsense over, they settle down, and Shin serves tea to the MC. Dongming notices that Shin and our hero seem pretty comfortable around each other, while Shin, on the other hand, looks almost starstruck with the fact that someone as young as our boy has connections with such powerful figures. As they chat, Dongming brings up the treasure catalog the MC had been looking at earlier. When asked, our hero explains he was searching for an endgame relic. That earns him a pair of confused looks. Seeing their expressions, he clarifies that he saw it online and thought it sounded cool and mysterious. Last night, our boy finally checks out the skill book Wei gifted him. Turns out, it's something mages use to temporarily restore mana during battles. He tests it out, and the system drops a mention of the endgame relic with no actual explanation. With no other choice, the MC decides to figure it out later and calls the night. Fast forward to the present, Dongming invites Duan and our hero to visit Longbow City, and then uses a flight scroll to leave. As he leaves, our boy decides it is time for food, and Duan suggests they head to his place. They are now at Duan's villa, and the MC takes in the luxury and gets a suggestion from Duan to move in. But our hero wants to save up and buy a place nearby instead. Duan even offers to lend him money, but he is not interested in charity. He has made quite a bit of crystal coins from selling equipment, which he could convert to buy a villa now, but that would drain most of his savings. So he decides to take things slow and steady. As they sip their tea, Duan has already called for the chefs. But then his phone rings. It's Zhang Ji, who lets him know that the investigation team who is looking into recent city disasters wants to question him. Duan knows this could impact the MC and decides to check our hero's opinion first. For now, he tells Zhang he is unavailable. When he brings it up to our boy, the MC has no clue what kind of people the investigation team are. A meeting of higher officials is underway regarding some mysterious hotshot who apparently saved Qinyu City, but no one actually saw the guy. Still, the rumors spreading like wildfire, like he is some legendary savior. One of the guys in the room thinks what half of them are thinking, it all sounds like a load of nonsense. Sulan tries to explain that maybe it's because the invasion ended so suddenly, and all the mutants were wiped out overnight. But the man is not convinced. He argues that just because the attack stopped does not mean it proves anything. Plus, some of the recent attacks were beyond Demon King level, and monsters that strong don't just vanish without a trace. Qi is watching the whole thing, and she knows exactly why Lan is under pressure. She had secretly erased all records about the hero to keep his name out of this mess, and now she is the one dealing with the consequences. Just then, Zhang walks in and announces that Duan won't be coming. That is the last straw for the already frustrated man. First, the so-called hero is missing, and now the investigator is too? He is done and decides to take full charge of the investigation. Later, the same man arrives at Aiwei Tomb, a hidden site in the secret realm. He is there to investigate, though investigate might be a generous term for whatever he is about to do. The air is filled with the remnants of dark power, and the man does the unexpected. His eyes light up, and before anyone can stop him, he is already basking in the ominous energy with a monster standing before him. Over at Duan's mansion, our boy is deeply committed to his mobile game. But just as he is about to win, the system alerts him about the final relic. He senses someone reaching out through their aura and shifts his focus to pinpoint the location. He then grabs his jacket and gets ready to leave. Duan walks in just in time to catch him mid-exit. The MC hands him the phone to complete the game round while he leaves. On his way to the graveyard, our hero notices that the relic's location on the map is moving. While at the graveyard entrance, the guards are already on edge. A monster has appeared, and its body is a disgusting mix of weird and wrong, with the very man visibly trapped inside it. The poor guy is begging for help. Meanwhile, traffic has come to a complete stop thanks to the chaos. The MC steps out of his taxi to move by himself. Back at the graveyard, Lan and her assistant girl arrive, only to freeze in place, as the monster is worse than anything they expected. Lan lies on Qi's lap, looking injured. Qi works at full speed, using the high-tech gear our boy provided, but even with all that, Lan's injuries are too much to deal with. Lan tries to sit up, and Qi updates her on the bad news that the monster is now heading straight for downtown. Duan has been called in by the mayor, but Lan knows that Duan's strong, sure, but against that thing, he will just be buying time. The only real hope is our hero, and just as if the universe is listening, the MC meets the monster. The beast lunges and slams face first into a defensive barrier. It freezes and gets confused. The system gives our hero an interesting offer to absorb the monster, and the MC accepts. The moment he agrees, an insane surge of strength floods through him, and all his stats shoot through the roof. But along with that boost comes something weird. Random images flash through his mind, cryptic and unsettling. Duan arrives right after the action is over, and our boy informs him that the monster is handled before Duan notices a man lying nearby, looking questionably dead. Before he can think too hard about it, the MC leaves the cleanup to him and leaves. Later, at Qinyu City's prison, the man is locked up and has apparently decided to spill the real truth. Turns out, he found a demon in a secret realm, thought it was a good idea to mess with dark powers, and that is how things got out of hand. Now, the whole city is convinced some mysterious hero is watching over them. Zhangji wonders if Duan ever got a glimpse of this very hero, and Duan gives him a nod. Zhangji then turns to Duan with a request that he wants an introduction to the so-called hero. His grand plan is to bribe the guy into staying in the city forever by catering to his every need. But Duan shuts it down immediately. The hero barely shows up and does not seem like the type to settle down. And well, there is no hero. Duan and the MC had been smart enough to dump all the credit onto a non-existent figure. Without proof, Zhangji would not be able to find so much as a shadow. To make it sound even more convincing, Duan assures him that the hero has family members in Qinyu City to look after. A complete lie, obviously, but it sounds official at least to Ji. Qi and Lam back him up that the MC does not want to be disturbed. Meanwhile, our boy is enjoying a nice, peaceful bath, putting everything together. The so-called final relics turn out to be just the remains of long-dead secret realm demon lords. The dramatic images that popped into his head earlier are nothing but leftover memories from a dead Dark Lord. He almost feels scammed, but he has no interest in becoming some grand realm lord anyway. He has got a different plan. He knows these realms are drowning in dark power and keeps leveling up. Once the invaded timeline cannot handle it anymore, then it's game over. Right now, in his timeline, only a handful of people can even reach the fourth transformation, and that is mostly because their cultivation path is a mess. To make things worse, their professions are not exactly optimized for survival. That much he has managed to pull from the Demon Lord's memories. If things continue like this, humanity is basically screwed. Sure, he is strong enough to survive, but what is the point of being the last man standing in a monster-infested wasteland? Luckily, not every timeline is failing this badly. Some have actually managed to fight back. That gives him an idea to gather more remains, dig up useful knowledge, and spread it around. He just needs to be smart about it unless he wants to end up with a target on his back. Just then, his phone rings. Wei is calling, offering to treat him to dinner. Well, at least something is going right today. He accepts, obviously. Before that, though, her guild members throw a small celebration for her and Cheng, both of whom have hit the second transformation. Cheng shares that he has booked a private room at a nice restaurant for the occasion. Too bad Yue already has plans with our boy and suggests pushing the celebration to the next night instead and leaves. Cheng does not take it well. He accuses her of acting all high and mighty. The MC takes a bite of the roasted lamb and savors it like it's the best thing that has happened to him all day, which, given the mess his life has been lately, might actually be true. Yue has just shared about the whole hidden profession thing with him, and now he is lost in thoughts. While digging through the Demon Lord's memories, he realized that the Awakeners, professionals, and even slaves in the past never really reached their full potential. If history failed them, maybe the emblems are the key to fixing that. But Yue does not look thrilled, more like disappointed because she had planned to buy the emblems for him and her guild. Still, she insists that he cannot just slack off, but he needs to level up and be able to protect himself. The MC, of course, sees an opportunity to be a menace, as leveling up alone is way too much work, so having her around to protect him is more than enough. Yue did not expect that, but before she can argue, she flinches in pain. Right, she got injured while completing a quest, and instead of mentioning it earlier, she just sat there, suffering in silence. Before our hero can say anything, his phone rings. He picks up, and the voice on the other end is not exactly friendly. The caller demands to know where he got the emblem, and judging by their tone, they are not asking out of curiosity. Our boy just hangs up. When he tells Yue, her eyes widen in shock. She has not told anyone about the emblem, so something weird is going on. Before they can even process that, the phone rings again. This time, the caller sounds downright pissed. The MC once again does not feel like dealing with it and cuts the call. They finish eating, and soon after, part ways. When our hero returns to his apartment, he knows something is off. His place looks like it went through a tornado with furniture overturned and stuff everywhere. And then he sees him. A man is standing in the middle of the mess. Our boy immediately recognizes him. It's the same guy who called earlier. The MC senses the attack coming from behind, but without even flinching, he dodges it effortlessly. He then shoves the attacker into the wall and sends him crashing to the ground. The guy who witnessed all of it is completely stunned. The MC glances at him and makes it clear that respect for strength comes first, and only then should any talk follow. The man, who is now looking like a confused chicken, wonders what went wrong after all. The reports clearly stated that our hero was supposed to be weak. Too bad for him, because thanks to a major boost in his attributes, the MC now moves like a breeze and reacts even faster. And without using spells, he can handle these situations just fine. The guy makes one last desperate attempt to attack. When that also fails miserably, he starts to run for his life. Sprinting toward the balcony, he leaps, probably thinking he will make an escape. But our boy grabs his leg midair and drags him back inside. There is no way he is letting him off the hook after trashing his apartment. Now both men stand in front of our hero, beaten, humiliated, and down to their shorts because they have given up everything they had in exchange for mercy. The MC demands answers. It turns out that Chung was the mastermind behind this disaster, who hired them to dig up dirt on our boy. But since he was the one who started this mess, our hero has no intention of letting him walk away unscathed. He then uses a forbidden spell on them, one that scrambles the mind. Meanwhile, Chung is with the Shield Warrior, probably feeling quite confident about his scheme of sending people after the MC. His other brilliant plan was to teach Yue a lesson during their last mission. In order to that, he let the boss monster run wild to scare her so he could swoop in, play the hero, and bask in the glory. Too bad Yue had other ideas as she risked injury and took down the monster herself. Just then, one of Chung's spies walks in. Chung, eager to hear what dirt he dug up, demands a report. But instead of answering, the man who caught part of their conversation asks about Yue first. The man tightens his grip around Chung and the Shield Warrior's necks, but he is not really in charge. Our hero is furious about what they did to Yue and is pulling the strings. He is not in a rush to end their lives too quickly after all. That would be too kind. Instead, he casts a spell that messes with their minds and their very being until they all turn to dust. That was convenient for him, as there will be no evidence and no mess that he has to clean up. But this whole thing makes one thing clear. His neighborhood is not so secure. High-level Awakened can stroll in and out as they please, and while he could deal with them, he cannot exactly sit at home guarding the place 24/7. If these idiots had stumbled upon the knowledge he gained from the Demon Lord's memories, that would have been a nightmare. Luckily, he had not started sorting through that information yet. Not that it mattered now, as he need to move somewhere less welcoming to uninvited guests. Duan's place seemed like the perfect fortress. Now at Duan's house, the MC spills everything, and predictably, Duan explodes with anger. He is ready to go on a manhunt and teach any other lurking threats a lesson. Our boy, on the other hand, has more practical concerns. He needs an alchemist, someone skilled, trustworthy, and preferably not part of a giant gossip-loving guild. Duan knows plenty of talented alchemists, but they are all tied to big organizations, which means too many ears and too many risks. Our hero knows from the Demon Lord's memories, they had quite a few top-tier alchemists, and their potions were leagues beyond what this world has now. He has access to some of their prescriptions, but without a professional to make sense of them, he might as well be staring at ancient poetry. And after what happened that day, the last thing he wants is to attract more greedy flies like Cheng. The next morning, the MC gets to know through Yue that she knows just the guy he is looking for. Shu Wei, the brother of her guild's priestess, was supposed to join them, but did not get along well with Cheng. Well, that is one problem our boy has permanently solved for Yue, as Cheng won't be picking fights with anyone ever again. When Yue asks why he is suddenly interested in an alchemist, our hero gives a bunch of lazy excuses. She does not believe him but lets it slide. Later, the MC meets Shu Wei, while Yue and Shu Ting wait outside. Wei examines the prescriptions and notices that while the ingredients are not particularly rare, the refining method is complex, intricate, and nothing he has seen before. Then our boy shares that this potion can boost experience gain to 100%. Upon hearing that, Shu Wei freezes and gets shocked. The most expensive potions on the market barely push it to 40%, and now there is a formula for one that maxes out the effect. If this gets out, low-level professionals would be shooting up the ranks quite easily, and in no time. Zhu Wei asks the MC to wait while he dashes upstairs to run the all-important test, leaving Shu Ting in charge of tea duty. So the three of them sit, sip, and chat. A normal, calm moment. That is, until some very suspicious noises start echoing from above. They rush upstairs only to find one of Wei's experimental slimes making an escape. And then, in the middle of the chaos, Wei steps forward, glowing like a mad scientist, and announces the success of the experiment. He had tested a bit of potion on the slime, and it gained experience at full efficiency. Our boy is now convinced the other formulas will work just as well. Ting, on the other hand, stares at her brother. The guy who practically worships his lab is now tearing it apart in pure excitement. Once the mess settles, Wei makes the girls swear to keep this a secret, and then turns to ask our hero about his next steps. But before the MC can answer, his phone rings. It's a message from Chi Wei, and apparently, the city is sending senior students to a secret leveling up area next week. But there is limited space, so each class has to take turns. The group chat instantly explodes with students chattering. Our boy is now clear of his plans. He will test the experience potions on himself first, and once they hit the market, they will definitely be a sensation. But with big profits come even bigger headaches. People like Chung will start flying around, looking to leech off the success. The MC, however, is not about to hand over his hard work on a silver platter. Instead, he plans to strengthen the people around him first and build his own influence before anyone else even sees what is coming. Our boy figures it's a good idea to include Zhou Zhisheng, the berserker from Yue's guild, in his potion-sharing group. Zhisheng is strong, gets along well with Yue, and let's be honest, having a powerhouse on his side never hurts. He then hands over some more prescriptions to Xu Wei, and Wei finds some ingredients completely unfamiliar. Yu suggests they test the first batch of experience potions together and invites the MC to tag along. Wei, on the other hand, stresses over making enough potions before the destined meetup day, and Yue and Ting focus on rounding everyone up. And our boy? Well, he just sits there, blending into the background like an extra in his own story. When the day finally arrives, our hero gets to the meeting spot first and waits by the roadside. A bus full of students passes by and they start mocking him because, from the looks of it, their daily routine is not complete without making fun of him. At the dungeon entrance, students are gathered and wait for their turn. Chi Wei shows up with another group, and since these students are in the second class, they have the privilege of waiting a whole 2 hours before they can enter. Then, they spot the MC, Yue, Jiasheng, and the brother-sister duo strolling past the line like VIP guests. Naturally, this does not sit well with them. Before the outrage escalates, Chi explains that our boy is leading the guild and heading straight to the dungeon's depths, which is a whole different league from where they are going. But of course, explanations cannot just erase jealousy. Some students whisper Yue's name, and that immediately catches the attention of another group. Among them are Chang Mukyu, ranked 4th, Li Kei, ranked 3rd, and Gu Yunzhou, holding the 2nd rank. Unlike the complainers, these three don't waste time whining, and they just move straight into the dungeon. The MC and Yue's group finally reach the depths of the dungeon, where Xu Wei hands out experience potions. Everyone thanks our boy, though Yue knows socializing has never been his thing. Ever since he failed his first awakening at 16, people had a great time mocking him, and instead of proving them wrong, he just shut himself off even more. Seeing him actually hold a conversation without looking like he is being tortured is a rare sight. She just hopes this means he is finally snapping out of it. Bringing everyone back to reality, Yue reminds them they don't have a tank or a strong magic output this time, which means one wrong move can end them. To avoid that, she does not want our hero making any flashy moves that might attract unnecessary attention because, let's be real, he tends to overdo things. The plan is simple. She will lure the enemies, Xiangshu will handle defense, and Wei will use potions at the right time. The MC finds this whole leveling method painfully slow, but for the sake of teamwork, he decides to suffer through it. The battle begins. Yu fires an arrow, which hits a zombie-like creature, and just like that, the rest come charging in. Xu Ting boosts Xiangshu's strength, and with one heavy strike, an explosion engulfs the monsters. Meanwhile, Wei's fire magic roasts them nicely. After killing the creatures, Ting and Xiangshu get excited and plan on reaching their second transformation, passing the college entrance exams, and getting into a top school with Yue. Just then, a loud laugh echoes through the cave. Yunzhou steps out with Li Kei and Mukyu, looking way too pleased with himself. He is quite amused to see that a bunch of low-level fighters actually think they have a shot at a top school. Ting and Xiangshu recognize them, but something feels off that these guys are not even from Qinyu City. Yu then demands to know their intentions. Yunzhou gets straight to the point that they came all this way just to find Yue and invite her to join their team. But Yue does not even need a second to think about it. She shuts them down immediately, as she has her own guild. Yunzhou tries again. He even sweetens the deal by offering a spot for Cheng, whose ranking is not exactly impressive. But Yue's answer stays the same. Yunzhou realizes that she is not budging and switches to a different approach. He talks about how dungeon monsters are getting nastier thanks to recent anomalies, and how the major universities have raised their standards. Only elite teams or exceptionally talented individuals stand a chance this year. He paints it as a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, and emphasizes how all the rookies are scrambling to build their dream teams with his group included. And of course, the real reason he wants Yue is because she is destined for greatness. unlike the rest, who are apparently doomed to mediocrity. Yue has reached her limit with this nonsense and summons her weapon. Xu Ting senses the impending disaster, steps in and suggests they go level up somewhere else. Yu does not even bother with a response. She simply turns and starts leaving, with her group following. Our hero, on the other hand, just stands there, seemingly in deep thought or maybe just zoning out until Li Ke goes to him, acting all tough. He demands to know if he is Feng. The MC simply denies it. Li Ke then insults him. Xiangshu steps in and calls out Yunzhou's group for going way too far. Li Ke then throws a punch. Xiangshu tries to block it, but the impact still hits hard and knocks the wind out of him. Wei moves to help, but Yunzhou blocks her way. She glares at him and wants him to move. Xiangshu, on the other hand, probably with a few broken ribs at this point, still refuses to back down. He clenches his fist, ready to strike back, but before he can, Li Ke is already moving again. Ting and Yue react instantly and try to hurry to stop the punch, but before they can, our boy, who had been silent all this time, lifts his hand. A magic barrier appears which blocks Li Ke's attack. Everyone is shocked to see our hero effortlessly blocking the attack, but he does not stop there and grabs Li Ke's wrist mid-swing and flings him backward. Li Ke crashes to the ground, and our boy returns Li Ke's earlier words right back at him, just with a lot more impact. Yunzhou rushes forward to check on Li Ke but is greeted by Yue's arrow lodging itself in his lower back. And Mu Qiu, the last one remaining from Yunzhou's group, just stands there, processing the absolute disaster that just unfolded before her. The MC had not really planned for things to go this far, but well, they just had to keep poking him. He turns to Ting to heal Xiangshu, and then asks him how he plans to handle Li Ke now. Xiangshu wants to do whatever our hero decides, so our boy tells him to take Li Ke's equipment as compensation. Yunzhou tries to protest, but the MC shuts him down with a single well-placed punch straight into the ground. The sheer force alone makes Yunzhou reconsider every life choice that led him here. He immediately offers his own equipment, which is a complete 180-degree turn in attitude. Our hero simply warns him to stop causing trouble. Mu Qiu surrenders her equipment as well. With everything settled, our boy announces that they should move on and level up. As they leave, Yue mentions that she originally planned to help him level up, but well, it turns out he did not really need the help. The MC makes up a vague excuse, but she does not press. No matter what, she is just happy for him. Xiangshu and Ting are eager to know which university the MC plans to join, but our boy has not even bothered to think about it, or at least, that is what he wants them to believe. In reality, he knows exactly why he won't be stepping foot in any of those institutions. Places like that come with too many rules, too many restrictions, and way too many opportunities for someone to accidentally spill secrets they should not. So, instead of entertaining their curiosity, he smoothly redirects the conversation to something more practical, like moving forward and leveling up. But leveling up is not as simple as snapping fingers, especially since he cannot use forbidden spells. But thanks to attribute bonuses and some well-equipped gear, he makes do with the spells attached to his items. A few days later, he finally returns home. He has only managed to level up just once, and that was with the help of an experience potion. He is so used to steamrolling high-level monsters with forbidden spells that he forgot what normal leveling feels like. Someone like Yue could hit level 60 and go through her second transformation in just 2 years. Meanwhile, those stuck in 1- or 2-star professions would be better off attending a university instead of grinding on low-level creatures every single day. But our hero is not about to dwell on that depressing reality. Instead, he decides it's time for a well-earned break. For the next few days, he embraces the simple joys of life. Just when he is starting to feel like a normal person, his phone rings. It's Yang Xin, who lets him know about an upcoming auction with some high-value items. But more importantly, Master Tang wants to know if he will be attending. The MC has absolutely nothing better to do, so he agrees. Soon after, he meets Tang Yichai, an appraiser from the Qinyu branch of the trading center, who took charge after Wang. The usual pleasantries are exchanged, and then our hero flips through the catalog, only to find a bunch of mage-related items that are useless for him. Just as he is about to write it all off as a waste of time, he spots something interesting: the very potion he helped Xu Wei create. Immediately, alarm bells start ringing in his head. He demands to know where the potion came from. Yikai explains that it was auctioned through the Kangrui Guild via the trading post. Our boy knows that this very guild is not just anyone, but it's one of the top powerhouses in the country. Strong, influential, and definitely not the type to randomly stumble upon a rare potion formula, which means one of two things. Either Wei secretly sold the formula to them, or something far shadier went down. Yikai shares about a new secret realm called the Divine Trial. It's a solo challenge designed like a tower, where you get rewards every 10 levels. One of those rewards is a recipe for an experience potion. This is the first time Duan has heard about a realm like this. Officially, all realms up for a challenge must be registered, and their details are neatly cataloged on some government website. But our boy could not care less about regulations or realms. His priority is Wei. That said, the name Divine Trial does sound a bit too grand for comfort. And just as if the universe, or more correctly, the system, heard him, a mission pops up to clear the very realm in 2 months, or he will be erased. Now most people would probably freak out at the prospect of vanishing into thin air, but our hero finds it exciting. After that, he and Duan start digging for information and discover that this realm is controlled by the Kangrui Guild. The guild has exclusive rights, which means no outsiders can step in without their stamp of approval. But since the MC's existence is on the line, he figures he will deal with that problem later. When he finally reaches the trial realm, he has already got a decent amount of intel, thanks to the information about it on the guild's forum to lure in strong contenders. Slipping past the guards is easy for him, or at least, it should have been. The second he touches the entrance, an explosion occurs. Back at the guild, alarms go off as people scramble to inform their leader. Meanwhile, our boy returns back to his room through a black hole like something. He tries to process what just happened. The moment he made contact with the entrance, a surge of energy slammed into him and broke through his defenses. Even his system, which is normally the one thing that does not fail, took a hit. Now it won't stop spamming him with damage notifications. Healers are busy treating the guards at the entrance of the trial realm who got knocked out by the explosion. Xiu, who is the guildmaster of the Answer Guild, stands by, watching all of it. One of the guards finally comes to his senses and explains that there was an explosion at the realm's entrance, and then he passed out. Since this kind of thing does not just happen, Xiu starts wondering if the realm itself glitched out or something. Before he can start making theories, a priestess comes up and suggests using the magic to uncover the truth. She raises the staff, activates a spell, and magic circles glow as time rewinds. It's because the trial realm comes with a handy security system of image recordings and time rewind and is a whole package. As time rewinds, they see a sinister figure approaching the entrance, looking all kinds of ominous. Before he can step inside, another deity, this one glowing with holy energy, appears and literally kicks him out. After that, the holy deity seems pretty stressed and worried about needing to track down the dark intruder before he causes any real damage to the world. Upon hearing that, everyone watching the recording gets absolutely speechless. A meeting is called immediately with the 7 guild leaders. As they review the footage, the guild leaders confirm that it was definitely a deity. Lu Yingjin points out that while they don't know who exactly this deity is, the magic used in that fight was strong enough to hit legendary Forbidden Curse levels. Feng Zhou recalls past reports from Xiaoyu about technically passing the trial and receiving the deity's recognition and blessing. Xiu confirms this, though he had not exactly been expecting a deity to personally make an appearance. Yuling Shua, on the other hand, does not like where this is going. If someone wielding Forbidden Curse magic still could not eliminate the dark deity, that is a very bad sign. Luo Yuning shares the concern. Meanwhile, Wang Bo suggests that maybe those forbidden spells are actually meant to be used against the dark deity. Upon hearing that, Zhang Yanchuan suggests giving that theory a try. Xiu, however, sees right through them. He knows these guild leaders have been eyeing the trial realm forever, and now they are using this situation to pressure him into opening it. Fine. He decides to open it, but not without a warning. He explains that the monsters inside are no joke, and with their current strength, they will get wrecked. As for the deity's blessing, in his opinion, they are far from deserving it. At this, Yingjin turns to Old Feng for his thoughts. But the moment Old Feng hears this, he immediately blows a fuse. Yingjin does his best to keep Old Feng from completely losing it. They have called him in for a major incident, but judging by the literal flames flickering around his face, he is beyond furious. His apprentice had warned them about strange activity in the city, but they brushed it off, sent an investigation team, and made things even worse. If it were not for the mysterious hero who saved Qinyu City, they would have innocent blood on their hands. Yingjin tries to calm him down and reminds him that setting the room on fire with his temper won't fix anything. This old man had retired long ago after paying a price for using dark power, yet here he is, getting dragged back into the chaos. Yingjin suggests to Old Feng to show the incident's recording to the mysterious hero, and maybe they can shed some light on it. And just to sweeten the deal, he gives a bribe of bottles of fine wine. Thankfully, that does the trick, and Old Feng's anger miraculously starts to cool, and he agrees. Over at Duan's villa, our boy glares at his system notifications as a new mission has popped up to complete his second transformation to fix the system. He then steps out of his room and finds Old Feng and Lan sitting in the living area. Duan makes introductions, and it does not take long for the MC to realize exactly who Old Feng is. The man is not just some retired veteran, he is a walking legend. He has got more achievements than most people have good luck, from developing secret realms to wiping out evil adventurer organizations. He is also known as the strongest mutant, and while most members of Lone Shadow prefer to stay hidden, Old Feng's mere existence is enough to make enemies rethink their life choices. This very old man hands our boy a small gift of millions in crystal coins and around hundreds of bottles of high-tier experience potions. The MC, who is still mentally processing the fact that he has basically been handed a fortune, asks why they are here. In response, Old Feng plays a recording. Our boy watches and nearly chokes. The very terrifying evil entity they are also afraid of is no one other than him. His system immediately updates the transformation mission, and he can feel it trying to box him in. But now is not the time to panic, even though he is sweating bullets. He keeps his expression neutral and assures them he will send the recording to the mysterious hero and update them later. Before leaving, Lan hands him her card for any future updates. The MC recognizes her from their first meeting at the profession changing room. Once they are gone, Old Feng seems surprisingly pleased with our hero and is already plotting ways to recruit him into their team. Lan asks if he thinks our boy and the mysterious hero might be the same person, but Old Feng does not care. If the MC wants them to believe he is just an innocent student, then the old man plans to do that. And as long as they have the mysterious hero on their side, they are not going to argue, especially with their enemies getting stronger by the day. The MC has a pretty good idea of what happened to his system the previous day. Most likely, that deity was tracking his location. And considering how effortlessly the thing shattered his defenses, it's safe to say its power level is way past the manageable problem stage. So his priority number 1 is to fix the system by reaching the 3rd transformation. After all, it's the only thing keeping the deity's detection at bay. But he cannot ignore the other mission either. If he cannot find a way to make use of the enemy's power, then it means he just signed himself up for a much bigger headache in the future. He then gets some intel from Duan, who got it from Old Feng about the trial's secret realm. Apparently it's structured like a tower. There is no clue about the number of floors though, as no one has made it to the top yet. The monsters inside are significantly deadlier than in other secret realms. The highest floor ever reached was the 42nd, and of course that record belongs to none other than Shiyu. But our hero has got other things to stress about. His evil god identity could get exposed, and with how unpredictable this trial's mechanics are, he would not be shocked if the deity's forbidden spell decides to make an encore appearance. So maybe it's best if someone else handles the trial. After all, nowhere in the mission details does it say he has to do it personally. He then asks Duan if he saw Shiyu's challenge, and how many levels he thinks he could reach if he were in Shiyu's place. Duan gives it some thought and estimates around the 35th floor. That settles it. Shiyu, who is near his 5th transformation, is clearly stronger, but since Duan is on his side, he would rather have him take on the trial. At least that way, he won't have to worry about unexpected betrayals midway. Decision made, and he decides to start preparing Duan with a special training session. Meanwhile, somewhere else in the city, Old Feng gets shocked when he hears that the mysterious hero is sending someone to the Kangrui Guild for the trial. Lan confirms that Duan personally made the request, and he also asked to borrow the training room. Now Old Feng is very interested. Just the other day, the heads of all 7 guilds had attempted the trial, and guess what? Every single one of them failed, even Yingzhen. So if Duan manages to do something impressive, well, this is going to be fun to watch. Excitement practically sets Old Feng on fire. That flame burning through his body is not just a metaphor, it's the price he constantly pays, slowly chipping away at his life. After that, in the training room, our boy Duan, Old Feng, and Lan are discussing strategy, while Captain Zhou and some others watch from the sidelines. Zhou, for his part, is counting his blessings. He almost had the MC kicked out of the test earlier, but thanks to the unexpected chaos, the order never went through. And looking at how things turned out, dodging that bullet might be the best decision he never made. Our hero scans the surroundings while Duan hands Lan a drive packed with valuable intel. Lan checks the contents and finds everything: monster weaknesses, cleared floors, and even some highly classified details. Our boy has pulled out all this information straight from the Demon Lord's memories because that guy once invaded the trial secret realm, so who better to spill all its secrets? Old Feng wants to watch Duan's training closely, but his real concern is the bigger picture, and he asks Duan whether the mysterious hero is sure that the evil god is going to destroy the world. The day before, Duan asks our boy the same question. Since Duan is one of his own people, the MC cannot just brush him off, but explaining too much is also risky. So, he is stuck in that awkward space between wanting to be honest and not giving away too much. Now, Duan confidently repeats the answer our hero had given him, that as long as the mysterious hero is around, they don't have to worry. Old Feng, who is apparently satisfied with that completely non-detailed response, hands over the responsibility of the trial secret realm to Duan. Without wasting time, Duan marches in, or more accurately, crashes right into it. The moment he steps in, monsters lock onto him. They charge, but he fights back, and while he does take them down, he does not walk away unscathed. Our boy, who is watching from the outside, suggests that Duan should take a break before he ends up needing a full body cast. But Duan insists he just needs a short break before going again. This is an opportunity his master has given him, and he refuses to let him down. Lan, who is also watching it, knows for a fact that she would not survive this trial if she were there. Those monsters are beyond the 4th transformation, and she has no desire to test if her luck is better than Duan's. Old Feng, on the other hand, is deep in thought. He had heard from Lan about our hero's absurdly fast transformation, and is now wondering if our boy could pull off something so ridiculous. Could Duan do it too? Maybe, just maybe, the so-called mysterious hero could work some magic and break the current combat system, unlocking some kind of divine blessing for Duan. The MC, on the other hand, is starting to realize he might have oversimplified things. He had assumed that knowing the monster's weaknesses would be enough to clear the trial, but obviously people have limits. So do their weapons, and their skills. And if Duan cannot pass, the job falls to him, which is horrible news because his combat skills are basically non-existent. His only real option is forbidden spells, aka the fastest way to either blow his cover or put himself in serious danger. So he decides that he has had enough of this potential disaster for one day and says goodbye to Lan and Old Feng. His classes start next week, and before that, he needs to level up fast. If Duan cannot be handled the trial, then our boy at least needs stronger skills or better gear to cover for him. The best way to sneak around unnoticed is through flying scrolls. Luckily, he had the foresight to stock up on those. Using one, he launches himself into the air and lands near his destination. In front of him is the entrance to a wild secret realm, the same one Duan had mentioned before. It's currently outside official control, so there are no annoying restrictions. The area around it looks like a war zone, with clear signs that some kind of fight went down. But our hero does not have time to care about that. He steps inside and hopes this is not the beginning of another headache. Inside the realm, a bunch of bloodthirsty lunatics have already wiped out the other group when they spot a flying scroll. Their egos are so inflated that they have already decided that whoever owns it is done for. As loyal fanboys of the Demon Lord, they are convinced the very day he will finally descend. Unbeknownst to them, one of their unfortunate victims had an ear device, and it's still broadcasting their secret plans. There is another group inside the forest, and a girl listening in catches the mention of a secret realm invasion. She pieces together that the invasion is about to hit the mountain and immediately updates the others. The real problem is the city of Changling, which is right next door, meaning it's in the direct path of destruction. Their captain assesses the situation. One of their squads is already wiped out, and even if they rush in heroically, they would only be signing up for a very short battle. The monsters in the secret realm are ridiculously strong, and the city's magical barrier will not hold up much. With no other options, he orders the team to retreat and inform the authorities. Step 1. Evacuate as many people as possible. Step 2. Hope for a miracle. But since they have zero surveillance equipment, they have no way of knowing when the invasion will happen. So, someone has to stay behind and play scout, and the captain himself decides to stay. His squad, being the good, loyal subordinates they are, immediately protest, but he shuts them down. He has already accepted his fate. Before settling in for his impending doom, he makes a final call to his daughter. She, blissfully unaware of the apocalyptic mess her father is dealing with, excitedly wishes him a happy birthday. He barely has time to respond before a powerful force erupts, and even the retreating squad members see it. Meanwhile, inside the secret realm, our boy is busy turning the place into an ice age. Using his skill, he has unleashed an endless ice calamity, freezing every monster in sight. Since they have already given him a satisfying boost in levels, he figures it's time for an upgrade. The Demon Lord's supporters stand ready and are all excited to welcome their master, only for our hero to casually stroll in instead. Both sides just stare at each other and are completely dumbfounded. It turns out that the Demon Lord they are waiting for has already killed by our boy. The supporters quickly assess the situation. The MC clearly does not recognize them, which means he is not the Demon Lord's reincarnation or some high-ranking follower. But what really throws them off is his sheer nerve to waltz into their hideout alone. Then a light bulb goes off in their heads. They remember the flight scroll from earlier and come to a conclusion that our hero must be an opportunist who wanted to pledge loyalty to the Demon Lord but chickened out after sensing his overwhelming dark power. So they ask the MC about it. Our boy, however, shuts them down with a straight-up no. And as for any other reason he might be here, that is his business, not theirs. That does not sit well with Gu Rong, one of the more self-important supporters. He starts throwing a tantrum and boasts about how great and powerful he is. But our hero has zero interest in listening to his biography. He cuts him off and wants them to either fight or get lost. That does it. The supporter army collectively loses their cool and decides it's time to teach the MC a lesson. But just as they are about to attack, the atmosphere shifts. The air grows heavier, the light dims, and in an instant, their confidence evaporates, and now they are scared. Our boy decides to let them experience true terror. He traps them in a nightmare-inducing illusion, one that exposes all their weaknesses and drags them through a world of pain. Every single flaw they have is laid bare, just like how he easily notices Gu Rong's old shoulder injury from overuse and goes straight for it. Over deep in the forest, the squad captain is growing increasingly impatient. He has been waiting for the secret realm invasion on the mountain, but nothing is happening. Finally, he gets fed up and decides to go check it out himself. The moment he reaches the cave, he stops dead in his tracks. Gu Rong and his entire squad are very much dead. He relays it to his team, who are just as stunned. But that is not even the worst part, as the secret realm is completely sealed under a massive ice storm, with not a single monster left alive. Still hoping for some sign of life, he breaks through the ice to check on the boss, only to find it just as dead as everything else. Back at the villa, our boy insists that Duan take a break, but Duan, who is stuck at level 45, acts like it's the end of the world. He is convinced that he is not worthy of serving our hero, but the MC just wants him to relax, as he was only supposed to get through the trial's secret realm, and in the upcoming week, they will start special training. Duan is now relieved that he has not been abandoned and eagerly rushes to order food for our boy. Our hero, on the other hand, decides to kill some time with games. Just as he starts, a message pops up from Old Feng, asking to join. For a second, he wonders if the old man's account got hacked, but it's really him. And here is the real shocker. Not only does this always serious old man secretly enjoy gaming, but he is also pretty good at it. It turns out that he used to play with his grandson, but now the kid is drowning in exam preparation. And as luck would have it, the grandson is around the MC's age. So our boy suggests they all team up sometime, and Old Feng is on board. Not that our hero minds, as keeping a powerful old man on his good side might come in handy one day. As they chat, Old Feng mentions a supernova training camp that top universities are organizing. The best performers will get admission and receive top-tier training resources. He has 2 spots and offers one to the MC. At first, our boy could not care less because he has forbidden spells, so why bother? But then reality kicks in. He might have magic, but without proper combat skills, facing gods in the future would be, let's just say, not ideal. So he decides to take the opportunity. Old Feng books both spots, one for our hero and another for his friend. He also mentions that his grandson and he are so alike that they are bound to get along. After that, at Chinyu City's senior middle school, students are buzzing about how even ordinary universities are raising the bar for their combat majors. Just then, an announcement interrupts them that a new student is joining. This very student turns out to be Mukyu. The MC recognizes her immediately. While the rest of the class behave like they might as well have seen a celebrity, she is a big name, and her presence there is nothing short of shocking. Then, to make things even weirder for our boy, she asks to sit next to him, and there come the jealous stares. Principal Zhang is at Principal Fang's office and is looking ready to flip the desk. He demands to know why Mukyu was tricked into leaving their school, but Fang is completely clueless. Zhang, however, is not just mad about losing a student, but Mukyu also took a highly sought-after training camp spot with her, and that is going to mess with his school's admission rate. This year, only 4 spots are available across the entire province. Fang's school already had 2, and now, thanks to Mukyu, they conveniently have another. Before their argument can go further, Fang's assistant, Liu, knocks and announces a guest. Fang waves it off at first, but the second he hears the name Old Feng, both he and Zhang freeze. A big shot like Old Feng showing up here is not just unusual but practically suspicious. When they finally meet him, neither of them has a clue why someone of his status would bother with their school. Then Old Feng introduces his grandson, Feng Rui, and drops the request that he wants Rui to transfer. Fang and Zhang are speechless. Rui is not just some random kid, but he is ranked among the top 15 on the national supernova list. And if he really fought with all his power, he would have easily made it into the top 5. Zhang is struggling to process why someone like Rui would pick a no-name school like this. And to make things even crazier, supernova students automatically get training camp spots, which means Fang's school just gained yet another spot for absolutely no effort. But Old Feng is not done. His bureau has 2 extra training camp spots, and he wants them handed over to students from Fang's school. At this point, Zhang is questioning reality. But before he can argue, Fang smoothly dismisses him and hands him over to Liu to escort him out. Once they settle down, Old Feng gets to the point that those 2 training spots are meant for the MC, but Fang hesitates, as our hero is someone who literally just awakened his powers. But Old Feng wants him to do as told without asking any questions. And considering Old Feng's bureau oversees both independent adventurers and the 7 great guilds, Fang is not about to push back. Over in the classroom, our boys' group is expanding like some kind of exclusive club. What started with just Mukyu now includes Rui, Xiangshu, Yue, and Ting, all comfortably surrounding him. It turns out that Chung, after being contacted by the school, gave up his training camp spot, which allowed Ting to claim it. Xiangshu managed to grab a spot too and is absolutely thrilled to meet Rui. Mukyu, on the other hand, is not exactly happy. With so many new people around, it suddenly feels like she has serious competition for the MC's attention. She even prepared a gift for him. Now she just needs to figure out the right time to give it. Meanwhile, the other students are just standing there and are completely clueless as they watch this strange group, like they are witnessing some elite club forming right in front of them. But the MC has bigger things to worry about, like why no one else seems even slightly concerned about Chung's disappearance. At the Zhao family's house, an assistant suggests reporting Chung as missing since there is still no sign of him. But Chung's father has already called in a favor from someone influential to take care of the investigation. Instead of worrying about that, he turns his attention to the situation at the school. The assistant shares that he managed to get Chung an extended leave, using additional training as an excuse. The principal did not pry much, though he did seem a little heartbroken about losing a participant for the training camp. With that settled, Chung's father orders not to be disturbed and heads upstairs to check Chung's room. After entering the room, he steps into a hidden chamber. Over at school, Rui excitedly shows a skill book to our boy. It's for summoning a water spell, and he hopes our hero might find it useful. The MC, however, knows that summoning is a rare profession, and books like these don't just pop up at the local bookshop. Not to be outdone, Mukyu jumps in with her own gift, which is a battle mage skill book, just as rare. The problem is our hero cannot even use these skills yet. Before school started, he had set out to level up in a secret realm, only to discover that it required a team of 5 to enter. So the entire trip turned into a waste of time, leaving him stuck with no new skills. Still, he is not about to reject good loot. He accepts the books but balances the scales by giving them high-tier experience potions. The second Rui and Mukyu realize what they have just gotten. Their determination to stick to our boy like glue skyrockets. Then comes Yue, who also has a gift, though technically it's from Shuwei, who made a new potion. Later, the MC heads home, where Duan is already looking worried. Our hero had promised him some serious training, but so far, there has been radio silence on the details. Our boy hands him Wei's potion, which is a nourishing elixir that heals old injuries. He wants Duan to drink it first because once that is done, then the real training begins. After drinking the potion, Duan feels better than ever. After that, they dive straight into training. The MC takes one look at him and immediately spots that his lung injury is still healing, so he should avoid moves that put too much strain on it, and his skill combos are a complete mess. Duan is impressed, though a little uneasy, at how easily our boy has picked apart his flaws. Then comes the real challenge, the special training. Duan pushes himself to the limit, not because his life depends on it, but because disappointing our hero feels just as bad. He fights through wave after wave of monsters, with barely getting a chance to breathe. When he finally finishes, he asks for a tougher challenge, but Lan shares that there are not any more levels, as they have used up all the available monster data. With nothing left to do, Duan finally collapses to the ground, completely drained. But despite how exhausted he is, he feels a deep sense of happiness to the point of tears. Old Feng, who has been watching all along, is both amazed and a little shaken. The way the mysterious hero has pushed an experienced adventurer like Duan to this point is nothing short of insane. Now more than ever, he wants to stay on the guy's good side. His excitement flares up again, but before he can get too carried away, Lan brings up the issue of handling the high cost of dark power. Old Feng thinks for a moment but decides to put that on hold. Right now, the priority is taking Duan to the trial realm. Old Feng and Duan arrive at the Azure Guild, where Yingjin and the other 7 guild leaders are already waiting. Duan knows these guys are a big deal, as his own master could not even get them to show up together before. But with something as serious as the divine manifestation on the table, they have all appeared.